Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Veil background information. I'm doing a character profile and we're actually going to be talking about Beauregard Viper. He's one of the Viper clan characters, and this December the book I'm releasing I think it's going to be on Kindle only because it's only a short story, and it's just because I couldn't get the last rattle finished in time. It's Beauregard's short story, so I thought I'd do a little profile about him so you get to know him a little. So, as always with my characters, you get a quote from one of their stories, a little discussion about what went into the thinking of them, and then you'll get the character profile. Now, because Beauregard is a main character, and in the Viper series, on my Patreon, he's got a much fuller, more detailed character profile, which will be linked into the web. But hopefully, you'll find him interesting. So. Oh, it was fantastic. It was beautiful. When Beauregard had been so belittled and disregarded by the universe because he was the youngest son, and through his time in academy he'd been mourning his father's loss, the revenge that was coming to him now was just priceless, exquisite. It had taken a long time to bubble up, but suddenly it was showing itself, and Beauregard had to cackle in delight as he looked towards the grinning wolf and then stood up. Quote from The Loveless Viper. When I asked my friend Kirsty the cause of the Viper in the first place to help me decide on a nice French name for the youngest son, she decided upon Beauregard. I never much liked the name, but Beau sort of settled in as the younger brother that was cheeky and as up for mischief as his younger sister, but also always keeping an eye on her dad. As with most of the Viper clan, I actually decided their fate by random decision for all sorts of methods I will not reveal, especially because they are unorthodox and relied on me looking at my local library's website to see what was popular in the romance section as a basic idea, and then playing with my Dungeons and Dragons dice to decide relationships, genders, species, and other bits before then bringing the random notes together and then trying to figure them out. Beauregard's is the first one where I was actively going to write the vampire cad, the seductive vampire that's rolling with everything he can and is supposed to be so utterly charismatic and charming everyone loves him. It felt really hard to sort of figure it out because his story involves an affair, I'm not sure if I wrote it well or if I put a lot of my own dislikes about the idea of affairs into it. I tried to be even about it, but in general, when writing Beau, he's someone I don't like because he takes everything he can get and doesn't have the same monogamous ideas as his family does. But people are different, and I refuse to write everyone exactly the same in their attitude and experiences in life. But Beauregard is the playboy of the family, and yet in later stories, he's also the cool uncle you can go to if you need help and don't want to have to talk to Dibble. But he is a cad, and he has no actual care about how he's viewed. Like most of the Viper clan names, Beauregard has his own profile, but that's more detailed than this, which is linked into the description and the text here. But he's the main lead of the latest story I'm releasing, The Loveless Viper, and it's time to give him a bit of a show. So, name Beauregard Matthias Viper. Position Viper Clan Liaison. Story featured in all Viper Clan stories, but his personal story is Loveless Viper. Role male romantic lead or vampire cad. Gender cisgender male. Description shorter and leaner than all his siblings. He's only 5'7" and looks constantly like a 20-year-old or younger. He has strawberry blonde hair that shows darker roots that are almost an auburn red, and he tries to ease his hair out into curls and have it shoulder length to make it look more regal. He has a beauty mark upon his left cheek that he teases with, and his skin is a soft creamy colour, but most striking of all, he has one silver eye and one golden eye, which many view as him being cursed by being literally two-faced. He has muscle upon his body, but it's most like a running athlete, so he's not a broad in the chest or as strong looking as his brothers, but lithe and elegant. Realm the Veil abilities, all of his vampires, like all of those vampires, he can turn into a bat, devour humans, or drink their blood. He also worked hard on learning a technique of how to make people forget he was even there, how to close their mind off so they won't ever remember he was there. He has one silver eye and one golden eye, are often thought to hold a curse, but he uses them to intimidate, and he has very strong pheromones that attract female vampires as well as females of other species. Master Tibble Viper. Personality quite possibly the most vicious and resentful of all his bloodline. Beauregard was a wet blanket as a child, always giddy with Odette or a bit bratty with his toys, not willing to share but always running to his father for a cuddle whenever he hurt himself. This personality shifted when Thea went to hell and Beau had no protection in academy. He was bullied and beaten so ruthlessly that his bitterness grew until one day he cracked, and a different personality emerged. His current personality is suave, sophisticated, manipulative, cunning, and always predatory in seeking opportunities to cuckold or insult the nobles that bullied him by choosing their wives, mothers, sisters, daughters, and even grandmothers. He is the ultimate lover in his actions, wicked and sadistic, with no real love, but just a constant hunger to hurt those that hurt him. Yet his devotion to his family is absolute, and he admires and loves Tibble greatly, but will only answer to him. Relations. Youngest of Theo and Delia Viper, he is very adored by his mother and sometimes even a little baby, and he idolizes what his father did for others, but has a distinct feeling his father probably would not approve of how he's grown up. He idolizes Tybalt too, seeing him as a secondary father figure and doing anything his big brother needs, and glad that despite their own thoughts on things, Tybalt understands and accepts him. He and Gaston get along well too, and like to tease a lot. Noel is very understanding of him and very affectionate with him, and he is not too sure what the whole fuss was about Theodosius because he can understand that attraction hits people differently. He was always scared of getting on the wrong side of Elaine and getting a lecture. Loved winding up Celine because she joked with him just as much. And of course, Odette and Theodora are the babies, the angels to him that can do no wrong. He and Theodora understand each other very well. His best friend is Eduardo Hernandez, the Count of the Iberian vampires, and he rescued Beau from a lot of the torture he went through as a kid. Hernandez is someone he also holds in high regard and wishes to only do the best for, although he's also quite sure that he can't always help him when it comes to the matters of the heart. Romero Amadeo is a werewolf that grew up at the schools of the Viper clan on their island, but his family migrated there during the time before the Purists, when things were still bad economically for werewolves. He is Beau's devoted servant and his friend and manages his estate in Sardinia, enjoying the place himself and always making sure they had their relaxing place there. History. Often referred to as a wet blanket for most of his important years after his father's descent into hell, Beauregard was bullied so ruthlessly that only Hernandez was his true friend and could try and defend him whenever he found him in trouble. But when Hernandez graduated and he was alone, something within utterly cracked in Beauregard's switch behaviour. For a boy who'd never even masturbated, let alone looked at a girl before, suddenly he was right beside the girls intended for the greatest bullies, stealing their first kisses and their hearts, sending love letters, and owning them forever against his foes. He lost his virginity to the disgruntled wife of Count Agia to ensure he could help Tybalt secure a good deal after reading the life of Casanova and other womanizers to learn how he could use cuckolding as his ultimate weapon. He was able to secure a villa in Sardinia to enjoy for himself, bring the family over or friends to have fun in his bachelor pad. He brought many friends over to enjoy it, gave them what they wanted, so he would be invited to their houses or weddings, and always once there would find a target, seduce her, bed her, and ensure her heart never belonged to anyone but him. The women began to whisper about his love, all of them secretly, thinking he'd chosen so many and would never marry because he couldn't have them. They all failed to see where he was unwilling to find love because it would interrupt his revenge, and that they were all just toys, and yet Beauregard met his match and the wife of the one man he could never wish to make a cuckold, but did. Final comments. I do not approve of Beauregard's behaviour, but I hope you'll find his story interesting. Thank you for listening.